you. What we are doing? That's washing. So we may have to wait for him.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Don't go auntie. Oh, that's it. It's about the Pomona Deal. So what we were thinking was that the VP Mwonzora, as you know, Mwonzora is an engineer, so it's about a minute. Yeah, he's actually making his way up the steps. Right. So what we will do? Do you want to introduce the lead?
Yes, that was Secretary General.
Secretary General, all right. Yes. Let me write so it's okay. No, I've just said Secretary General.
Sorry, we're just waiting for the Vice President is coming up the stairs. So sorry for the delay so that we begin. Once he's in the room.
Is Blessed around?
You've been waiting, Honorable.
Yes. When the time comes, I'm going to really address on that point.
You're still waiting.
And we are going to make sure that yeah, he has arrived. Oh, okay. That's most of the time. All right.
Morning, VP. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The moment we have been waiting for. Morning, members of the First State. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Emirati Morning Richard Changai House. Sorry for the delay in actually convening this press conference. I know we targeted it for 10:30, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, we are starting now. Before we hand over to the convener of the meeting, I have pleasure to inform you that we have senior leadership from the standing committee. On my right is Mr. Mkomwe, who is also the Deputy Organizing Secretary of the party. And on the left of the President is Honorable Engineer Mwonzora, who is the Vice President. And I will allow you to interface with us at a later stage. But with me here on my left is the President, Honorable Senator Douglas Mwonzora, who is going to address you. Honorable President, the press is waiting for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Secretary General, Honorable Vice President of the party, and the Deputy Organizing Secretary, one of our new Deputy Organizing Secretaries, Mr. Mkombwe Dube. Mr. Mkombwe Dube is from Binga. Don't worry about his size, he's a very, very young man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this press conference. I would like to start by apologizing for standing you for the delay in starting. I know that you have a lot of work to do, especially today being a Thursday. But also that we had set the press conference for 10:30, and at 10:30 we must always meet. We must always meet our times. A few things, of course, were being done. So we want to apologize, especially my friend. I want to really apologize to you for the delay in starting. This is the first time that the MDC is publicly commenting on the Pomona Deal. And we have called this press conference to set the record straight regarding our position on the various aspects of the deal. We also want to share with you our serious observations on the deal. But before I start, we want to make it clear that the MDC, being a social democratic party, is pro-investment, it is pro-business, it is pro-commerce, it is a pro-clean cities. In fact, we want smart cities. We are pro-environment and we are pro-development. We are also, as I said, pro-investment, both domestic and foreign investment. Therefore, those people who come to this country to invest their monies in the productive sector of this country are most welcome. So we welcome investors. That is our stance. When the Pomona Deal was made public, there were various reactions from various sections of society, including the government. Some went on the defensive, some resorted to the usual propaganda and name calling and making unresearched assertions about other people. Some simply went to the default mode of blaming the MDC. Some resorted to misinformation. But as the MDC, we resisted the temptation of commenting on something without research. For that reason, this National Standing Committee instructed Engineer Mwonzora to look into this deal. He is our vice president. He is ex-mayor of Harare, but also most importantly, he is an engineer who would understand the technical aspects behind this deal. He has completed his investigations and was able to brief the standing committee yesterday regarding this deal. We noticed that before the deal came into being, there was a due diligence done. A committee, a multi-stakeholder committee or delegation was sent to Europe to carry a due diligence exercise on GeoJennings. As you know, GeoJennings, which is the contractor, is a company based in the Netherlands, but it is a subsidiary of a holding company based in Italy, according to the documents. What we have noticed is that the committee that did due diligence produced a report. And in that report, they have a conclusion that they made. And their conclusion was in two parts. The first part was that it was prudent to do business with GeoJennings. In other words, they passed the contractor. The second recommendation was that there was a need for renegotiation on certain aspects of the deal. Certain financial aspects had to be re-looked at. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that the recommendations of the committee that did due diligence was ever carried out. And as a result, what we see is that the deal was not renegotiated as he had been recommended. And as a result, we see a few important things that we want to share with you. So there are a number of things that we have observed, especially in the financial modeling of this deal. Number one is the revenue section. According to the Pomona finance model, revenue is derived from three sources, namely waste disposal at $37.80 per ton, the sale of electricity, which is going to be generated from the refuse, recycling of the refuse, the sales of recycling material. Recycled material is going to be sold at $158 per ton. Sale of electricity is at $25.20 per megawatt, I suppose. The Pomona dump site has a vast and extensive resource of waste disposal over many years, which can be used in this project. But we have not seen the quantification of the present waste. We have not seen the quantification of the waste before the deal. Before the deal, Harare was producing refuse. Before the deal, there was a dump at Pomona. That dump is raw material, we suppose, for whatever is to be done, but it has not been factored in, and we think that is wrong. The second aspect is the budget section, the cash flow and capital outlay. According to the documents relating to the memorandum of understanding as well as the feasibility study, the investor is supposed to pour in $302,901 into the project over a period of 5 years. This year alone, which is year one, GeoJennings is supposed to inject $68,239,000 into Harare, into the deal. Unfortunately, this has not been done. So no construction has been done. No installation of any facility has been done. Nothing has been injected as far as our investigation has gone. Nothing has been injected into the country up to now. Yet there are now claims for revenue. The contractor has to be paid. That's what we hear now. Now, we think that it is wrong for an investor to start collecting revenue without injecting anything. There is a danger, of course, that we may end up sponsoring ourselves from ourselves, and that has to be looked into. However, in subsequent years, I have talked about a $302,901 being injected into the deal. This is investment coming from outside into the country, and prima facie, that is welcome. We need money flowing into the country, and it is going to flow. As I said, this year we must get about $68 million. Then year two, about 89 million euro. Year three, 59. I'm rounding million euro. Year four, 41 million euro. Year five, 46 million euro. This is the money that must be injected into the country. However, in the subsequent years, commencing with year 7, there is an unusual continued capital expenditure and additional acquisition of assets as follows, stated in the budget. Now, we have been told that the investor is bringing 302, but we see from the financial records or from the documents that in year 7, the company is going to spend 88 million on acquisition of assets, additional expenditure. And in year 15, it is going to spend 30 million euro. In year 16 up to year 24, they are going to spend 8 million euro. Year 25, they are going to spend 33 million euro. And in years 26 to 30, they are going to spend 8 million euro. Here is our problem. This deal is going to see the project spending money on capital acquisition and capital expenditure to the total tune of 239 million euro over the period of 30 years. Now, this money is going to be spent from where? We suspect is going to be spent from the money that is being generated by the business. In other words, if this is not well explained, if this is we do not pay attention to this, it could be a basis upon which money can be siphoned from the company to the prejudice of Zimbabwe. The total investment value is not going to be 302. It is going to be $554 million. The question that then arises are as follows. First, what equipment needs to be bought every other year throughout the course of the project. Throughout the course of the project, every other year, you are buying equipment. What type of equipment is that? Number two, if the assets being acquired are to enhance the project, in other words, if the additional expenditure is to enhance the project, how come the total electricity generated will remain constant? If we invest 302, we are still going to be getting 22 megawatts, is it, that we are going to get. If we increase the investment by 239 million, we are going to still get the same amount of electricity. We are not very convinced that that is a correct way of proceeding. Number three is the overheads analysis section that we did. A total of 4,480,000 maintenance costs are oddly stated for over 3 years. That is from year 4 to year 6, when the up to when the project goes to 30 years. So we have maintenance costs for 3 years, and yet the project goes to 30 years. We do not understand what this actually means. Then the other issue is the issue of fuel costs. The deal implicitly states that the city of Harare will bring waste to the dump site at its own cost and trucks. But the Pomona dump site incurs exorbitant fuel costs per annum. For example, in year 1 alone, the cost of fuel is going to be 2.86 million euro, or 3 million US dollars. That translates into 8,300 US dollars per day for 65 days continuous. That will be the fuel that will be consumed. And if we work it out using the present cost, it means we are going to be spending 4,700 liters of fuel per day. That is not convincing to us. Then the other source of concern is the procurement of the garbage trucks. We are told that there is 27 million euro, 27.7 million euro for the compactor and the skip trucks by Joe Jennings. In other words, they are going to procure trucks. This works out to 405,000 euro each for the trucks. We have done our own research using our own internal systems, and we have discovered that the same trucks are going for 87,000 euros. They are being sold to us at 405,000, and yet if you Google the same truck, it is going for 87,000 euro. That means that there is a potential, there is a possibility, real possibility, that the price has been overstated. and overstated by 365%. And this to us is unacceptable. Now, there is something called the net present value, and this focus profitability of the project. And according to the documents prepared by GeoJennings, prepared with the stakeholders, the technical people that were involved, including the government, according to them, the NPV, the net present value of the project, is minus 161 million euro. I've just rounded it up. What that means is that all the people involved in this deal, government and GeoJennings, know that the project is not profitable. So the project is not going to be profitable. The project is going to run at a loss, about minus 161 million euro. Now, why should we undertake a project with a negative net present value? What does it help? Why do we do a project we know will generate a loss? Why should we do those interventions that make this project profitable? Now, our impression is that this deal was hurried. It was done without paying due attention to the financial model. The MDC therefore recommends as follows. The deal, number one, the deal as currently structured is not reasonably justifiable and not supportable. We cannot support a deal which, according to the financials, according to the finance statements, is going to run at a loss anyway. And we propose that the government immediately renegotiates this deal to take into account three things. Number one, what we have observed as a stakeholder, we, the MDC, as a stakeholder, have observed certain anomalies within this deal, which make this deal not make financial sense. So our representations must be considered during the justifying the renegotiation. Number two, there were certain recommendations by the committee that did due diligence. Those recommendations were not factored in. So we must renegotiate this deal so that they are factored in. Then there were certain observations made in council, Harare City Council, at committee stage and at council stage. Certain observations by the councillors and so on, they must be taken into account. They must be taken into account so that this deal benefits Zimbabwe. It is sensible that we must process waste matter. It is sensible that we must generate electricity out of it. It is sensible that we must invest in cleaning our city. But in getting all that, we must do something that makes business sense. So we are not calling for this deal to be thrown out altogether. We are calling for the renegotiation of this deal so that it makes sense, so that Zimbabwe that doesn't unnecessarily lose. Now, pending the renegotiation of this deal, there are a few things that must be done. It is not fair for people to continue to be charged while the deal is being negotiated. In fact, to us, it doesn't make sense that no infrastructure has been made, no investment has come, and people are beginning to pay. They are paying for what? That is problematic to us. Now, as Zimbabweans, we must look at the future of our country. We must encourage investors. But whenever we are having investors, we must make sure that it is a good deal not for the people who are involved in the deal making, but for Zimbabwe. Is this deal good for Zimbabwe? It is not good for Zimbabwe as it is presently structured. Sorry. Can it be good for Zimbabwe? Yes, it can. It can be good for Zimbabwe if it is renegotiated. For example, I think they talk about Harare supplying about, is it 500 or 1,000 tons of refuse? And yet we know that Harare is 8 trucks which are functioning right now. So 8 trucks to deliver the amount of waste material needed, they cannot meet the target. Currently, according to the documents, Harare is, I think, collecting 302 tons a day. So that will be multiplying it by 3. With the current fleet, that is not achievable. We would favor a deal where the investor will supply the trucks that collect the garbage to the dump site. And if we have that, then our people will benefit from garbage being collected more efficiently and it being processed more quickly to the benefit of everyone. There is need to revise this deal. There is need to relook at this deal. And as most of you know by now, this is a national project and not necessarily a city council project. Thank you very much. Let me end there. Engineer Mzuri may want to add 1 or 2 things on this.
Thank you, Honorable President. Yes, the Harare residents have spoken against this deal, and we have to listen to Harare residents when they speak to say this deal is not good. When we went through this deal, we discovered that while we might blame councillors totally, the deal was done between central government through local government and geogenics. So it's purely a deal between government and geogenics. And it has been made a national project, as the president has said. Number 2, from the quantities of garbage that come in, technically, it's impossible to produce the electricity they are talking about. There's no quantification in the document to say such quantity of which garbage will produce what, the 22 megawatts of electricity. So we need that to make sure that we get the benefit of the electricity they talk about. In general, if you go to failed sewage works, you discover that we waste some gas. You can turn that into electricity. But it doesn't just turn into electricity. Some projects are not viable by just looking at them. You must be able to show that they will be viable. This garbage collection method doesn't show how viable it can be. To me, this deal has been done maybe to improve our city, as to keep it clean, but it really must be renegotiated, as the president has said, or else it must be advertised to get new tenders, to see whether there could be more comparative tenders. The 5,000 tons is said to be brought in the first year, then 700 tons in the second year, then about 1,000 tons in the third year. But if you read the contract document, it speaks of a build, operate, and transfer, BOT contract. If you go to Pomona and show me what has been built before charging, then we can be talking of something. I have not seen anything. You are the journalist, maybe you can come and tell us what has been built already. Because we must be able to get the benefits out of what has been built, and it's not there at present. Then, when you come to the 1,000 tons, we're talking of 500, without making sure that the garbage is collected at source. If the charge is at $40, people might dig their homes and hide that garbage in their homes. It might never reach the city of Harare waste dump. And the critical thing is the payment model makes it very, very unacceptable. The payment model asks people to go and pay $40 at the dump site. Then it charges City of Harare for whatever quantity they should deliver. There is a payment certificate plus another certificate, which you cannot take care of, which is done at the dump site by Geogenics. How they are combined, no one knows. And people don't earn in dollars. There is no clarification on how City of Harare should pay the dollars to Geogenics. It doesn't charge people in dollars, it charges people in local currency. It's not clear. So it's the deal really makes all residents look at it and wonder whether we are serious at governance. So we have to look at it as council and government and make sure that the benefits accrue to all citizens in the country. There is need for research to prove that the kind of garbage we are likely to bring to the place is gonna have the right calorific values to make sure that at incineration you are likely to generate electricity. If they've proved that, then we are happy. But I don't see in the document where you come from 500 to 1,000 and where the average is to make sure that you benefit the 22 megawatts. And if you look at it, you want to see that is the critical item. The critical item there is we are going to produce electricity after wasting how much electricity. They give some quantities, but it's not properly clarified. Now, this has gone more into a technical area than the financial area. There is also a problem where they charge 6 cents per kilowatt hour. Right now, electricity costs 10 cents or more. I don't understand how Geogenics will be paying 6 cents and to be shared between it and City of Harare. There is a lot that needs to be looked at. Hence, we might need, Honorable President, that this deal is renegotiated or, to be fair to the public, may be re-advertised and make sure that we see other players and compare. We need a state-of-the-art dump site, but that state-of-the-art dump site must benefit residents, and there must be clear that it's to their advantage. If it can't, then we have to look for methods that we take away our waste, which are not too expensive to the common man. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, President, and thank you, Vice President Mwonzora. Now, I will invite questions or comments to the President. Obviously, there are rules. You need to mention your name, the media house you are representing, or whether you are a freelancer. I will take 4 at a time. The floor is open. Members of the press. Those who wish to seek clarification questions.
Silence.
Silence means whatever President Lee. There is a hand. That's it. All right. Your name and then your media.
Thank you very much.
Can you just come?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Tendai Kikwamambo. I am with the Spotlight Global News. My first question is directed to Senator Mwonzora. In your pressure, you highlighted a number of anomalies contained within the deal itself, where you also agitated that the deal has to be rearranged and looked into. So my question here is that why are you calling for the deal to be re-looked into, given the number of anomalies which you were elaborating before us, and also at a time when a good number of people are calling that the deal has to be struck off. Why are you choosing the route of wanting to relook when others are saying the deal has to be set aside? Why have you chosen that pathway? That's my first question. Then I come to my second question to say, is it not too late for you to raise this red flag, given the fact that the deal is already been signed? What are the legal implications associated with the manner in which the deal has to be relooked into, or maybe possibly with what your colleague was suggesting to say, probably we need to look at other investors, what they are offering, etc. So those are my two questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Since those are the only two questions,
yeah. Thank you very much, Tendai, for those two questions. Precisely because the deal has been signed, precisely because there is a contract in existence, the option of cancelling the deal is problematic, because the deal will then be enforceable. It will attract, I think, damages to the tune of 3.5 million, and it's stated in the documents. So where you have a contract, a legal contract in existence, the safest way of proceeding is to renegotiate. And when you are renegotiating, you are involving the other party in varying the contract. If you just unilaterally vary the contract, you are unilaterally breaching the contract, and the other party is also justified to act in a manner that protects it. Therefore, because there is a written contract, it has been signed, there are legal obligations that have been created. In order to vary that, you must act in a manner that is friendly even to the investor. And in our view, there are radical calls that cancel the deal. But this is being done by some people who have not read the contract. The contract says if you cancel the deal, then you pay us 3.5 million US. I think, is it euro or US dollars? I'll have to. You may have to check that. So that is the reason why we are suggesting this. When you are renegotiating a deal, you don't completely cancel the contract. You put an addendum to the contract, which says clause so and so. We are varying it to read like this, so that you generate, in this instance, we as the MDC want to see a win-win between the people of Zimbabwe and an innocent investor, especially the investor who is coming from Europe. We want to encourage them to come. And if we discover something wrong within the deal, we must be able to approach them so that we renegotiate the deal in a manner that they don't lose out. It still remains worthwhile for them to invest, but also to send a clear signal to the other investors that we don't enter into agreements with them and just cancel them at will. We, as a law-abiding party, abide by this principle in contract law, pacta sunt servanda. The contractual obligations must be respected. That is why we are doing that. Is it too late to renegotiate something when it is signed? No, it is not too late. As long as you can show the other party that for the sustainability of the deal, let's renegotiate. You will make money. Maybe if you are going to make $1 million, you are going to make 900,000 instead. But is it still worthwhile? Yes, it is still worth your while to make 900, and so on. So there are a lot of stakeholders, because this is a national project. There are a lot of stakeholders, some of whom are not involved in the negotiations, including the councillors themselves. The councillors receive a summary of what the deal says. And for average councillor, you are being told that an investor is willing to pay 302 million into Zimbabwe, into your city. You are then going to generate 22 megawatts of electricity being put in the national grid. On the face of it, that is attractive. But they will not receive the financial model in detail. They will not receive that at those stages. So we still believe that we know there are some people who have gone to court and so on. It is their right. There are some people who are saying radically, let's just cancel the contract. That is totally unwise in our view. We think what is wise in our view is to seek to renegotiate.
Actually, the outcry by Zimbabwean citizens saying they can't pay $40 is enough to allow any renegotiation. You are not going to collect the money from stools. You are going to collect it from the citizens. So it's enough to say, look, people are resisting. Let's talk about it and see where the anomalies are. But I put it to our technical engineers and technical people that they should look at this seriously. It is the contractor will go smiling if they don't look at it seriously. So this outcry and what we are stating to be corrected, we are actually telling our technical staff that is in council, in government, and whoever was involved to seriously look at these anomalies and ensure that they are corrected. In any contract, it's never sealed on the day of signing. You continue to negotiate. There are always changes that come, and that can cause adjustment of the contract. And that is what we are calling for. If it can't be adjusted, if they resist that they can't, then there is an understanding that you failed to agree, then maybe you re-advertise.
Yes.
Thank you for the responses. I see two more hands. I'll start with you and then myself. Oh, okay.
Let's contend our 263 times. After we do what like to follow up president about singa ma effects are just what deal kana chingera itwa skandaida kubvunzwa kuti pakatanga kuitwa deal pane zvinhu zvakaiswa pasi zvidzidoma consideration then ndoparazosaina kusenenga kuti pakaiswa zvinhu pasi manga musati hamuna kuzviona here kuti kana deal rikazosainwa kutanga paine ma-effects akati uye chichakonzesa kuti nini kana muchinge makazviona musina kukwanisa kupa maonero enyu semazokutipa kuti deal chiva nema-effects akati chiva nema-benefits akati panguva iyoyo isati rasainwa.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yes, sir. And then you.
My name is Samuel Takawira. The investors.
You are from?
Tusi Church. The investors representative was caught in a scandal, a trusted, and you are calling the investor innocent. How innocent are they when the court case against the deal that they once suspended?
Sorry, I did not get that question.
Okay, so I'm saying the investors representative was once involved in a scandal.
The representative?
Yes.
And who is that?
Mr. Delishingwa.
Oh, Ngowaya, okay.
Yes, and you are calling the investor innocent. Are they really innocent, given what they've done in the past?
Okay.
Thank you, Takawira.
Yes, my name is Marshall Mwonzora. Forgive me, Senator Mwonzora, but my question is a bit different from this perspective. Last week, there was a video of you circulating, we appeared on social media where you were saying that you were going to win the presidential election and you put yourself in comparison with President Emerson Mnangagwa. That's the truth. You win the race on the presidential race, and you actually say that you're going to win the election. So I wanted to know what ideological faculty forms that you're going to win 23 elections, because you dismiss the by-elections as something that you cannot, that is not a reliable focus for you to win the elections. Something that people cannot actually rely on, but you're going to win 23 elections.
So it's not about the deal, right?
I knew someone was going to say that.
But if the one presiding over, I can call you out of order. I say, fine. So we have the responses from the team. Yes,
Oh, I thought there was a hand up.
Yes, that's a 2 himself.
Oh,
There were three.
no, when you were speaking.
I just wanted to say, Geogenics is also some scandals that they are involved in. Maybe in addition to my question, as to point out
Oh, all right. Okay, it's okay. Which one do you want? Why did you not raise? What happened? Why did you not raise it? This deal is negotiating with us.
I just want to respond. You are asking whether we didn't see the problems when the deal was laid across. I think you should understand how governments work and how councils work as a journalist. These things don't come to political parties. We have deployed our people into those institutions, and they work. And within those institutions, they are technical people with expertise that those experts must advise our councillors. Our councillors don't take documents home to go and read the contract. It is the experts within council who, if they see something fishy, they will tell our councillors, say, refuse. Because they will only summarize to say this deal is good, but the challenges are here and there. And if you want to know, as we said, this deal is between central government and it only passed through council because it deals with council, and you know, council is under local government. It began under with the normal protocol. Local government takes over everything. Once they chair something or they come into a meeting, local government takes over. You must understand those protocols. So you don't see the documents. We don't see them. We had to look for the documents after the outcry, and we had to research and study what has been taking place, and we don't see the documents at any time. Even when we go to parliament, I don't see all the documents in ministries. We only oversee if I'm in parliament after something has happened. Then we say, okay, can the minister come and these people? Then we investigate. This is the same with the political entity, so it doesn't come to us. Then number two, I was just saying, you know, this is a press conference. We don't discuss people. We have come to discuss a project. And when we are discussing a project, there are so many people who could use anyone and could misuse someone. If you were wrong in one deal, doesn't mean you're totally wrong in the other. So for us to start pointing fingers, we are not the people who we are looking at investors. And if they are condemned by the public, it's something else. But as responsible leaders, it's not in our responsibility. It's not our responsibility to attack anyone under the auspices that they've done something wrong. That's why in the Bible they say, as long as Diana. Otherwise, you are not going to so we are not looking at that. We want to see the deal clean. And what we are saying is the deal must be made clean for the benefit of Zimbabwean citizens.
I thank you. But the question was arising from the fact that Honorable Senator Mwonzora had called them innocent.
Yes.
And there was public outcry over the company in person.
No. Let me answer you there. Hopo Chimono sent something on Twitter to say, Mr. Mwonzora, why are you not condemning the deal in which the representative is Delish Ngwaya, who was guilty of armed robbery? That was a question that was asked to me by Mr. Hopo Chimono. And I didn't answer that question because it does not make sense. Because when we are dealing with companies, there is what is called the corporate veil. Mwonzora Private Limited is different from Douglas Mwonzora. Geo Jennings Private Limited may be much different from its representative. Its representative may have his own issues. He may have done this or that or that or that, I don't know. But he is different from the company. And this is what most of the people, especially those who specialize in propaganda, like Hopo Chimono, fail to understand. There is a difference between the company and the individual, unfortunately. But in the world of emotion, you know, if you want to raise emotion, you don't make that distinction. The investor I'm talking about is not Mr. Ngwai. He is not the investor, actually. The investor is a company from the Netherlands, which is a subsidiary of the company from Italy. So both the investor and the parent company and the investor company are companies coming from Europe. And according to the documents, they have said that they want to invest 302 million euro with us. For what? Is that a good thing? Inflow of income? Yes, it is. Do we encourage it as the MDC? Yes, we do, because we encourage investment into our country. Now, for us, an investor is innocent until proven guilty, isn't it? We have had no information, non-tangible information that the investor, as opposed to the investor representative, has any issues. We don't know that. What we have is what is on paper. Money is coming to Harare to generate electricity, to process refuse. And our concern as the MDC is that if that deal is done well, if what we have raised is redressed, will it benefit our people? Will it create employment? Will it create electricity? Will that be good? Will it create a smart city? So the technical issues that Deputy President Mwonzora has dealt with have to be looked into and redressed for the benefit of our people. Then the second thing is that, you know, the councillors rely on the technical people, and the council during due diligence was represented by the acting town clerk, who himself is an engineer. He went to Europe. He looked at the projects that were done by this company and the other related companies. He came with a report to council, and the report was a recommendation that this deal is worth to be taken. And at that point in time, the councillors had no cause to disbelieve him. After all, he actually said there are certain things that have to be dealt with, and the government has been advised. Not only that, the councillors were told that the Attorney General, the chief legal advisor of the country, had looked at this deal and had said it was okay. They had no cause to disbelieve it. But it did not have all the nitty-gritties that are there, the financial statements, the financial model, and so on, was not put before the councillors. At any rate, we would not rely on the councillors' interpretation of that, because they are not technically equipped to do that. The technically equipped people did that, made recommendations, and so on. And what we have noticed is that certain information was not known to our councillors. As the Vice President said, this deal was not negotiated by the MDC. It did not come to us. We did not see it. We are now seeing it for the first time in detail when we have asked our Vice President to go and analyze it and bring to us his findings. And these are the findings that we are sharing with you. The Secretary General advises me that your question is out of order. It is not the subject matter of this press conference, but let me just leave this with you. That Zimbabweans, especially my opponents, want to forget me quickly. I am not such a man that is easy to forget. And obviously, we are people who don't give up. We are going back to the drawing table, and we are speaking from a position of knowledge. We are speaking from a position of research, and we are speaking from a position of confidence. Wait and see.
Thank you, President. Thank you very much, members of the fourth stage. I really wanted to wind up so that at least you go and do other things. To those who could not ask, so I'll give you the next priority in the next press conference. Thank you very much. Have a good day.